people, they have these babies that never cry, you never hear a peep from them. And then you have like the moms who are just like keeping their homes just like totally 100% perfect. You know, they're getting enough sleep, their babies are sleeping throughout the night. You know, like I think we're setting ourselves up all these expectations, and we just expect everything to just be perfect all the time. And you know, we kick ourselves in the butt, but you know, really, we're just setting ourselves up for a disappointment. And most importantly, when we're disappointed, plus our hormones equals disaster.
Not to mention your baby can feel those emotions too,
Yeah.
I've heard.
Absolutely.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so anyways, get support for after the baby, it's so important. And so yeah.
That's awesome.
That's what my little mother wisdom has taught me. And one excellent book, it's called Mother-Daughter Wisdom. It's by Christiane Northrup. It's awesome. Even if you're a mother to sons, it's just a really awesome book. It's like everything you wish your mother would have told you. It's just everything from A to Z about being a woman, from having a baby to raising teenagers to even into going into the hormone stage, and she even has into the menopause stage, sorry. And she even has a separate book called The Wisdom of Menopause as well.
I remember you mentioning that book to me. That'll definitely be something I'll be reading when it comes time. And so, like in seeing your experience, and I've had a few friends that have had children, and I saw a little bit of what they were going throughout their pregnancy, and afterwards and such. It's really going to be a way for me to see, and my aunt as well, and Matt's sister. There's been a few people, but it's going to open my eyes to different ways. Like a lot of them were on the standard American diet, and you're eating a predominantly vegan/vegetarian diet, and it's going to be wonderful for me to see in living color somebody who is actually doing, that diet, and saying, if it does go easier for you, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, wow, this is amazing. Well, my goal already, because I've heard people talk about it in documentaries and in personal experience from the people I have on Facebook, they talk about how, where they had been eating a cooked vegan diet, or then they went to raw. Well, when they had their kid on cooked vegan, it was a bit of an easier birth, but then when they did the raw, it was just so simple for them. And so I definitely want to get a few more questions in there to the people who have had babies on raw, so I can see how I would go about it. I'm assuming you'd add a lot of hemp seed oil or flaxseed oil, chia seeds, so that your babies are getting the omegas that they need, and of course supplementing with not the omegas, but B12, very important, especially when you're vegan or vegetarian, or even raw vegan.
Because what I've been kind of reading up on, and what I've read up so far, is that like the baby can't go in and take the mother's B12 stores. It has to be like a regular intake of B12. So it's not like calcium. If you don't get enough of it, the baby's going to take it from your bones. Well, B12 is not like that. So you really always have to have that constant intake. So.
Yeah, I've heard that about the bones. Like the baby will leach it from the bones. So that's why it's very important to get a lot of calcium. And like Christine was saying, she's going to be having salads, and I'm sure she's going to continue her green smoothies and stuff like that. And there's a lot of calcium, and especially kale and a lot of greens. So
absolutely.
She'll be getting lots of calcium, so that the baby's not going to be like, where's my calcium, Mom? I need some more calcium.
And I read an article actually recently that there was more calcium in, like, I don't know how many calories, but like there's more calcium in this many calories of kale than there was in the same amount of
milk or something.
Yeah, because there's this much calcium in milk, but there's not that much that your body can actually use. So.
Yeah, it's not bioavailable to the body. Your body can't really absorb any of that calcium because of the things that are injected into it, like in the United States, the growth hormones, and here in Canada, we're fortunate enough not to have the growth hormones, but we still have, antibiotics if it's not organic milk, and and everything like that. So, you know, your body can't absorb that calcium. So you'll see a lot of the time people will still end up, your kids or yourself, you'll end up with a fracture or a broken bone or something. And you're like, well, geez, I consume enough calcium, you think my bones will be strong enough to withstand this little fall? A lot of times it's not, because you're not getting calcium that you can absorb, and not to mention we don't go out in the sun as much.
Yeah.
So you need vitamin D.
And you gotta think about it, like, where are the cows getting their calcium? Well, they get it from the greens. So
And the
I'm
sun.
gonna get my calcium from the same way the cows do.
Not to mention, they're outside almost all the time if they're not cooped up in a cruel way. And so they're outside absorbing all this sunshine. When me and my husband decide to have a child, I do plan to have a predominantly 80% raw, 20% cooked vegan. That is my goal. I've evolved so much since starting the juicing, and like, I feel like in just a couple of months, I might be fully raw. So who knows, like, you know, when we decide to have children, what it will be like. But I know that raw foods is right where I'm at. I almost have tunnel vision, as you can see right now. But it's just because I know how I felt, and I know how I want to feel. And so I'm going for that light, and I'm going to chase it down, and I want my baby to come into the world feeling that same vibrance and happiness that I felt when I was on that full raw food diet. I want that child to just be like smiling as it's coming out, you know, and I want to be smiling as it's coming out. You're going to tell me I'm not going to be smiling, because you can imagine how much pain it can be, but I'm sure once it's all over, it's all worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
Once you see that baby's little face and little fingers and everything else.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, for now, we're going to say bye. Signing off, Lisa.
Christine.